Greetings one, greetings all. So I went out and did a little mushroom hunting. Yeah, I got some breakfast on my shirt, so I'm not normally a slob, but I'm out in the shop working today, so I don't give a crap. So anyway, I went out and did some mushroom scouting yesterday, looking for blacks and half-free morels, and it's still too early. They're not up, so that didn't work out. So today's mission is something totally different. I have to clean this shop. It's an absolute disaster. And that's what happens with any project I do. I'm not disciplined enough at the end of the day when I'm going in to put all my tools away and put all my stuff away and sweep the floor and do all that other stuff. I just walk in the house and next day come out and work on it some more and wreck it some more and walk in the house. So as a result, this place is just looks like a hurricane hit. And I got 2 new projects coming that I'm going to start. And I got to have a clean shop to do this for a couple of reasons. Spring is here. That means severe weather. And bear with me, I'm trying to do something here. That means severe weather. And severe weather means hail and high winds and possible tornadoes and whatnot. So as a result, when those situations arise, we like to tuck our cars into the garage. And if you look at the garage now, we ain't tucking no cars in this bitch. So this got to get cleaned out. So that's the mission today, is to work on this and get it all cleaned up, so that we can get two vehicles in here if we have to. But I'm also going to my storage facility. I have a renewed interest in my 6-wheel drive amphibious ATVs. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on them. Sometimes that's what I have to do to rekindle the fire on certain hobbies. I just get burned out, and then if I don't stay interested, it turns into a journey to nowhere and another piece of equipment or whatever that sits in a shop or in storage and wasting space. So the 2 6x6s are going to get brought over here today once this shop is cleaned up, and I'm going to start working on those. So one of them, the tan one, and that, I hate these new cigars. These friggin' cigars. They put that anti-smolder chemical in the paper, and they go out all the time, and I got to relight. If I'm not sitting there dragging on this thing all the time, the thing will go out. It sucks. So I'm going to switch over to rolling my own. But anyway, oh, squirrel. Yeah, I have ADD. But as a result, or what I was saying, the tan machine that I have, and I don't know how to insert pictures into this video so that I can show you. I have editing software that I downloaded, but it's so damn complex that I haven't figured it out yet. But the tan machine is a 1970s era Atex. Okay, that's spelled ATTEX. 6-wheel drive, driven by chains. And it's amphibious, so it floats. And it steers like a tank. It's like an Argo, if any of you people know what an Argo is out there. So I own one of those. It's 7/8 of the way restored. I actually drove it up and down my street in front of my house a couple winters ago, and it runs and drives. I put a big V-twin engine in it. Sounds like a Harley. It runs and drives, but I'm having problems with the steering. When I go to turn left or turn right, it's like it's not grabbing and it doesn't want to turn, and I have to keep hammering on the handle just to get that side to lock up and just turn me around the corner, and then I have to end up doing like a Y turn, and it shouldn't be like that. The machine should spin 360 degrees on itself in one spot. So something's wrong, and I got to figure that out. And once that's done, the tan machine, see, went out. Ugh, I hate these things. The tan machine is going to be my summer and warm weather machine because it has tires on it. Brand new set of tires. God, that costs a lot. 6 ATV tires and 6 ATV wheels. So here's I saved this because this is a collector's item, and this is the best one of the bunch. This is the old original balloon wheel and tire off of the Atex. See that? So the actual wheel itself, let me find a pointer. It's really cool. Shop is so dirty I can't even find something to point with. Here we go. The wheel is in here. The steel is actually inside this tire. All right? And the tire is a real low PSI tire. 3 PSI of air in that. So it's basically just soft and spongy like a balloon. And that's your suspension. So new ATVs have shocks and trailing arms and everything, and so they have a suspension. With these old vintage machines, the tires were your suspension. They were doing, 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 bouncy, and that took some of the bumps out of the trail. Well, they don't make those anymore. That's 60s, 70s era stuff. So now, the ATV tires you buy take around 15 PSI of air. They're not nearly as springy. They're a lot stiffer. So the ride has really been compromised. But since you can't get those anymore, I had to adapt to a newer style, and that was quite the endeavor to do. But once I get the machine over here, once the shop is cleaned out, prior to starting to work on it, I'll give you a tour of everything I did on this thing, because I pretty much rebuilt it. Made custom new axles out of 1-inch chromoly steel, custom axle flanges, all new bearings. I totally redid everything. So it's good to go if I can just figure out the steering issue. The plan with that machine is to use it in the warm weather months for excursions way back in the woods to go camping and get in there and fish remote lakes. So I'm actually going to build a hard shell top for the unit, like a cabin, that will also serve as a small 2-man camper. Basically with just enough room for 2 people to sleep side by side and get out of the elements and get away from the bears, because there's a lot of bears where I go, and at 1 o'clock in the morning they get curious and they come snooping around camp, especially if they smell any kind of food. And then if you're laying in a tent, you're just basically a burrito for a bear. So I don't want that. So I'm going to build a hard shell top on the machine so that when I'm not using the machine to drive, I fold the seat down and I slide a board in there over the top of everything. And then on top of that board, you put a mattress and a sleeping bag, and there you go. So that's the plan for that machine. Now the other machine is a 1960s era Skipper. Those were made in Canada. the machine is actually pretty valuable because they only made like 1,200 of them, and then the company went out of business. It's a totally different design machine. It actually seems better designed than the Atex. And the one that I have does not run, but it's complete. Everything's there, including the old vintage two-stroke, one-lung engine. The plan with that, and again, it has the balloon tires like that, which are all rotted out and useless. The plan with that machine is to get rid of the wheels and tires, throw them away, and actually make that into a tracked vehicle. So I'm going to custom find or custom design my own wheels, custom build my own track, and it will have tracks like a tank on either side. That unit will also have a cab, but I don't think it's going to be a hard shell unit. It might just be a heavy-duty canvas top, like an ice shack type top. I might even try to find an ice shack that I can modify to put on top of it. And I'm going to use that in the winter for ice fishing. So you just saw my videos for the track sled that I built. I think I'm going to sell that, believe it or not. So if anybody out there that's watching this is interested in buying that, it's for sale as soon as I get all the bugs worked out of it, which will be in the fall. Because I'm not going to sell you something that needs work. It'll be ready to go. But I'm going to sell that. And the reason I'm going to sell it is because I'm getting old. And it takes a lot of effort, I found out, just from the 3 laps I made around the field during the test run. It takes a lot of effort to drive that thing, especially if you're standing in the toboggan. It uses a lot of upper body strength to keep the machine stable, keep it balanced so it doesn't tip over, to push it this way, push it that way to steer. Plus you're going over uneven terrain. It's a workout. So for me, I don't think it's going to be a comfortable deal. If you're sitting on the chair in the toboggan, it's not so bad. But standing up, it's brutal. The next day my shoulders were aching and I was just like, no, forget it. So I think I would be more comfortable and enjoy myself more if I was sitting in a nice, comfortable machine with a heated cab. Yeah, gonna have heat. And I could actually physically drive the machine out there. Now, I had some reservations about using the 6x6s in the wintertime because of one flaw that they have. They will pretty much go through anything. I mean, they float, so you can go across a lake with it. It'll drive across a lake. It will drive through a swamp. It will drive through a bog. It will drive through a muskeg in Canada. It will drive through thick, soupy, baby diarrhea mud, no problem. But there's one flaw. The vehicle has no suspension. So that means it has no ground clearance. So that means the ground clearance that's available is only what the height you get from the center line of your axle to the bottom of your tires, which is literally about that much. So you're sitting in a big bathtub with this much clearance, ground clearance. So if you go on YouTube and you look up Argo, A-R-G-O, and you start watching some of those videos on there, you will see the guys going through some amazing stuff, but you'll see them getting high-centered and hung up a lot on that tub. So the tires dig down into the soup, and they're just spinning, and meanwhile, you're high-centered with the tub that you're sitting in. You're high-centered on the mud or the dirt or the snow. Big problem. So now you have to rock this machine back and forth to get traction from either side to pull yourself forward or lean off of one side or whatever. It's just, it's a pain in the ass. So since the tracked unit is going to be used in the wintertime, I actually had a great idea how I'm going to mount a small V-plow on the front of the machine. And as I'm driving through the snow, because it'll hang up in the snow too, do the same thing. It'll climb up on top of the snow, and then the tub is sitting on the snow because you packed it down, and now the tracks are just spinning because it's not digging in. There's too much friction to pull you, the weight of you and the machine forward, so the tracks just sit there and spin and you're stuck. My idea is to make a small snow plow, probably no bigger than 2 foot high at the max, all right, in the shape of an extreme V, rigid, adjustable. I'm going to hook it up to my winch on the front so I can raise and lower it like this. But the edges of that plow are going to come out past the outside of the tracks. The unit will have enough power to push snow. So what it'll do is it'll push the snow out in front of me. The plow's not going to be right slammed on the ground. It's going to be up slightly lower than the height of the bottom of the tub. So I'm essentially going to be scraping the surface of the snow off, because there's no way I get 2-3 feet of snow on my lakes up north. There's no way I can push all that snow with this machine. But I can push some of it off to the sides easily to allow the tub, the bottom of the tub, to just skim over the surface of the snow. So I've essentially scalpeled the snow down to the height of the bottom of the tub. I'm thinking that might be a good idea. So, and it'll be a lightweight plow. It's not going to be made out of steel. It's going to be made out of some heavy-duty plastic, PDEME or whatever plastic. The frame will obviously be steel in case I hit a chunk of ice or something, so it doesn't get all banged up. Thought about making it out of aluminum, but I think I'll make it out of steel tubing or something like that. But the blade itself, which is what normally makes a plow so heavy, is going to be plastic. And yeah, I'll push the snow out in front of me, scrape it down to the level that the machine can now ride over the top of the whatever snow's left, which will probably be about a foot, and I'll be able to go anywhere. Combine that with, here's another great idea I had. On the track, what I'm going to be using is I'm going to make the cleats on the track out of this stuff. All right. So as this is, this is when the track is up. As it's coming and it's rotating around the front wheel, it now acts like a big hand scooping you. So now it digs in and it pulls you forward, because this is like a shovel in the snow. Not only that, but I am going to take an old saw blade. I don't have one in here. An old circular saw, well, here. I've got, for some reason I saved these old saw blades. I don't know why, they're junk. They won't cut through wood very well. But the saw blade itself has a carbide tip on it. See it? Right there? That's carbide. That's sharp. That's hard. That's good stuff. So I'll take these old saw blades that are dull and won't cut through wood, and I'm going to cut the saw blade into sections, into triangles, and then I'm going to weld that onto the cleat right here, so it'll be sticking down just below the cleat like that for ice grips. So when I'm on bare ice, those carbides will dig into the ice and give me traction. I'm thinking that might work. So that's the plan for the Skipper. Hope to get it running. That's got a rather small 2-stroke engine in it. I'll see if I can get the engine running. If I can't, then I'll look for another V-twin, 20-horse V-twin, and drop that in there so I have plenty of balls. So yeah, I got big plans for the summer. Working on those stuff, getting them running. So that's what I'm going to do. So stick around. Come along for the ride. But I'm not going to film myself cleaning the shop, because that's like... So that's what I'm going to do today, and I hope to get both the machines over here in the shop today. That's my goal. So I'll check in with you later and let you know if my goal was achieved. So catch you on the flip side.